What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to part 3 of the 15th annual Smark Out Moment End of the Year Awards. The 2024 WWE section is rounding out here with the best and the worst of the Performer Awards sections. We had already taken care of the technical awards, the technical skills awards, I should say, and the writing awards. So go back and check them out if you have not already seen them. Make sure you also check out the AEW awards too if you're interested in anything on that front, because we did all 3 sections of that. Those are all uploaded and, sporadically posted as we go along here. And now we are going to be switching over to the Performer Awards on WWE. You know the score. Drop your comments below. Tell us what you think about what we pick. Tell us what you pick. What do you agree, disagree with? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, subscribe to the Patreon, be on the YouTube channel membership, etc., etc. I'm Tony Manga. Robert D. Felice is here.
Yeah, I was going to do a whole Christmas song and dance, but I think you guys know what time of year it is.
And we have the same kind of categories that we normally do here, so we're just going to kind of get this ball rolling on the final section of this, and that starts off with the best and the worst manager or valet of the year in WWE. I don't think that these are really too crazy to actually break down, and of course there are lists on smarkoutmoment.com that you can find that have a breakdown of pretty much everything that you can go with, different options here, but we only had a few managers and valets the entire year, and I think that it's not crazy to say that the people that are among the worst are the 2 that are in Final Testament, Paul Ellering and Scarlett, and also B-Fab. I don't know which one of those 3 I'd go with. I'm kind of leaning towards B-Fab because at least Paul Ellering and Scarlett, Scarlett's there for, she's Karen Cross's wife, and, she brings, the eye candy element of that, but, Paul Ellering brings an air of legitimacy to that. What does B-Fab bring to the Street Profits? It's not that she talks when they can't, because they can, and they do better. She can't wrestle.
Okay, better but do they B-Fab?
They B-Fab. I would say that they B-Fab more than she does.
I don't know if they B-Fab. I know she B-Fab.
So I'm going to go B-Fab.
Yeah, I will Elektra Lopez.
I mean, she kind of counts, yeah. I mean, she wrestles, but at the same time, so
she
does B-Fab.
Wrestles, he says.
Yeah, she wrestled twice, probably.
Yeah, how many times B-Fab wrestles? Probably twice, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I like Elektra. I like B-Fab. Fuck, I like Scarlett and Paul Ellering. But do something with them if you're gonna put them in roles.
On the positive side of things, it's Paul Heyman. I mean, come on.
I'm racking my brain to see if I can think of another manager that even comes close, but it's Paul Heyman.
The only other ones we haven't mentioned are Robert Stone with Von Wagner and MVP, technically, with Omos.
Well, then I guess it's Paul Heyman. Look, Paul Heyman...
Or at least I can't think of anybody else that might have been in the mix.
I want to put this out there, because he got inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. Time is not infinite, and we don't know when he'll be done. And I think we should really take that into account and really live in that, because there was a time that gets further and further away every day, but not that long ago, that it was oh, Paul Heyman is just out of the wrestling business. Before Brock Lesnar came back, and even when Brock Lesnar came back, Paul Heyman was not a guarantee. And I would argue that Paul Heyman, in the last 12 years, has created a greater body of work than his run in WCW, than anything he did in ECW, or even anything he did in WWE Creative before returning. He is the very best at what he does in every capacity.
I can't really disagree, He's had a fantastic 10 plus years. We don't have an award for this. I just realized. I don't remember when I got rid of it, but the best authority figures of the year. I thought we had that before, but yeah, I guess I had gotten rid of it. Those were just very quickly to throw it out there. The only people that were in an authority figure capacity were Adam Pearce, Ava Raine, Nick Aldis, Triple H, Robert Stone, Stevie Turner, and Shawn Michaels. And out of that mix, I would go best. I'd probably go Adam Pearce. No, I'd probably go Triple H over Adam Pearce. But Adam Pearce is very close. And then worst, I'd probably go... Actually, I was going to say Ava, but no, I'd actually probably say maybe Stevie.
Ava's perfect for what she's doing right now.
She's done better.
Yeah, if I'm going to say best, I would say, actually, I'm going to go 50-50 tie right down the middle, Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis. For the first time in a long time, I like the authority figures we have.
Yeah.
I want them to just stay the way they are. I don't want things to get too mixed up and muddled up to where there's not a need for one of them, because they're both really good, and they both, wrestling storylines, obviously, they get chaotic, but they both feel authoritative. They both feel, like they know what they're doing. They can cut good promos because they're both wrestlers. And shout out to them.
Funny you get people from the NWA to come in to help run WWE on that front. It sucks, though, that we're in a year where we've got some of the best authority figure characters, and they completely got rid of all the brand warfare stuff. I hate that.
Yeah. And I feel like people have been pushing for it. But maybe next year, when we're done with all the bloodline stuff, and we need to lean back on something, we'll lean back on brand warfare.
Maybe. Let's switch over to Broadcast Correspondent. This is one of the awards that we don't have on the AEW front because they just don't have as many people.
It would be Renee Paquette, if you wanted to know.
I'm considering getting rid of this for next year because at this point we're consolidating so many different things, and really how many people are standing out and doing anything.
Wow, Tony just said, I want to consolidate Jackie Redmond and Kathy Kelly as one person. It'll be Kathy Redmond.
I have the list up for anybody that's interested. The ring announcers we had this year: Alicia Taylor, Lillian Garcia, Mike Roman, Samantha Irvin. Samantha Irvin was the best, even though she didn't like her job.
Even though she didn't like her. Hey, look, Tony doesn't like his job. I happen to think Tony's phenomenal at what Tony does. Tony doesn't like his job. That's how I feel about Samantha Irvin. She's phenomenal at what she does. She doesn't like her job.
Backstage interviewers, at least what I could keep track of this year, we had Kathy Kelly, Kayla Braxton, Kelly Kincaid, Kevin Patrick, Mackenzie Mitchell, Megan Morant, and Sarah Schreiber. Oh, and Byron Saxton. I have to put Byron in there. He became a backstage.
They said downgrade.
Yeah.
You will be downgraded. Look, Backstage Correspondent wise, I made the joke about merging them, but it's probably a 50-50 for me for Kathy and Jackie. I like that they have their own vibe to them. They're able to punch back a little bit. They don't just stand there robotically and then stare off into the sunset. And I've really enjoyed that from both of them this year. And if you were to put a gun to my head and force me to pick one over the other, I'd probably give the edge to Jackie, because I think she's been able to show a little bit more personality. But we know how good Kathy Kelly is.
And they got rid of some people this year as well. So, when it comes to somebody like a Mackenzie Mitchell,
Boo! You should have never gotten rid of her.
Never should have.
Tomatoes. Boo.
Kayla was great. She's not there anymore. Matt Camp, I thought was great. He's not there anymore for the panel analysts or the anchors, and that's another thing too, is now we don't have the bump, and we don't have a lot of these other shows. So it's I even have a note down of we're probably just going to get rid of this category and not have it next year.
The bump's going to start up again though, isn't it?
Is it?
Weren't they just waiting to open the new headquarters?
I thought that they were just done.
No, I think they were just waiting to open the new headquarters.
Hmm.
They could be done. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think if anyone is like, oh my god, where's the bump?
true.
Like the bump. Like, but like.
And I don't plan on necessarily watching it. If they bring it back with another whole big switch up, I'll check it out. But I don't think I'll be watching it religiously like I used to. But that's a whole list of people too. Like, they brought in people like Peter Rosenberg and Ryan Popola and Sam Roberts and Kasim Famuide, and you got Scott Stanford and like all these other names and stuff. I think this is also one of those categories that almost nobody gives a shit about except for somebody like me. And the people that would be like, oh, this is nice if they ever were to like click on it and see that we would praise these people. But I'll shout out the people that I really like.
Introspection is nice, but it's also sad for me to see how this went from like a really expanded list where we would like talk about how much we enjoyed Ride Along and Down to now we're just like, yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll get rid of it next year. Like,
yeah, it might not even be worth it to have best TV show of the year because they're all kind of the same, like when sometimes with the urge and merge doesn't apply, and sometimes it consolidates a little too much. But shout out to Samantha Irving, best ring announcer. Shout out to people like Kathy Kelly, Caleb Braxton, Matt Camp. I like Sam Roberts a lot. I know a lot of people don't. Certain people are really fun on the panels, like Big E is always fun when he's on the panels.
Yeah, he's been good this year.
The Miz has done some good stuff on there. And that too, like they always throw people in there. So it's like you can't really call like the Miz like a panel analyst, even though he's on a lot of them. Wade Barrett's commentator and all. So
you did that again. Why aren't you just saying panelist?
I don't know.
Keep saying panel analyst.
An analyst on the panel. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, he's a panelist.
I will say, though, I am surprised after the people that they had gotten rid of. The people that stick around, some of them aren't necessarily my favorites and all. And I don't see what the difference is between, like, when they get rid of somebody like a Mackenzie and then they keep other people around that have less personality. Or when you get rid of, like, a Matt Camp and you're like, what's the problem there? And then you have other people doing these commentary things and you're like, oh, that person doesn't bring anything to the table. Then what are they doing? So, yeah. Again, probably not even going to have the category next year. Commentators, though, you could always have that discussion because that's every single episode, every single, in-ring thing. I haven't listened to like Blake Howard and Sudu Shah and whatnot, but who does?
Who are they?
They're on like Level Up and Main Event, I think. I think Sudu Shah got released this year. I think Blake Howard's on those two. I don't know because I don't watch those shows because nobody does. Nobody in the company watches those shows. So,
One person's watching those shows. It's Triple H on the headsets.
I don't think he's on the headsets. I think that's a responsibility that he gives to somebody else. That's either like Bruce or that's like Borash or somebody,
I think Level Up is possible because that's just during Raw, And they have used it more this year to like spotlight, hey, look, we got Wesley. Like he just got injured on Main Event, actually.
Yeah, it sucks. For context, everybody, we're recording this on the 18th. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
By the way, we are recording this on the 18th. They did the WWE Raw on Netflix kickoff 2 hours ago now. And I would say the funniest thing to me, just because of what we talked about on this podcast in the previous episode, go check it out, the Writing Awards. Triple H comes out and he says, Michael Cole keeps, unfortunately, calling it the Triple H era. It's not. It's your era. And I thought about how last night I gave that the worst catchphrase, and yeah, even he doesn't like it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Michael Cole, he is my best commentator of the year.
He's my best commentator as well. Michael Cole's
he's great.
The voice of WWE. There was a long time, believe it or not, about 15 years ago now, but I used to like put up a fight because I just thought, man, Jim Ross is still right there. It's just kind of sad to think about what we just talked about with Jim Ross. but Jim Ross is right there. I hate that like Michael Cole feels so forced, feels so robotic, feels especially towards like the PG era, the Cena era. He was very much like, I am a robot, just reporting propaganda for WWE, whatever our latest advertisement is. He's gotten a lot better. I know that if Callum was on this podcast, he would talk about the sometimes overacting of Michael Cole, like when oh my God, he's here! Hey, and he's just like jumping up and down. And I understand that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm just glad that Michael Cole is still around because at this point it's comfort food.
He's just good. Like he's the best that's going easily. I do want to shout out a couple other people that are a lot of fun. I love the pairing of Vic Joseph and Booker T for silly reasons.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Vic!
It's part of what makes NXT so fun. I like how off the wall bonkers Pat McAfee can be. Sometimes it can be a little bit over the top.
Into Jericho territory for me. Where I liked it a lot at first. I fear it's becoming
a little too hokey.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Shout out to Jesse the Body Ventura. It's Damien. Hey, Pat, this is Damien.
The joke is that it's Damien, you motherfucker. Like, he basically wanted to say that. If we have to give a worse though, and it's like I don't want to make fun of like somebody that ended up losing their gig, but they would agree too. Kevin Patrick just wasn't fitting this year. And it made all that much more sense why he got released or quit, whatever one it was. But like,
I liked him.
He seems like he would be really great for something else. Like,
and he's doing soccer now, and I'm pretty sure he's
probably killing it at that. Like, but just WWE, I didn't like his style. Oh, there's Joe Tessitore too. Like Joe's been doing great.
Joe's been doing great. I said this yesterday. I don't remember if we were on the air or not. He reminds me a lot of Mean Gene. He's got that radio voice. He could do a Mean Gene Okerlund if he wanted to dedicate his life to wrestling. But yeah, it's Michael Cole. And Wade Barrett's done great too. And Corey Graves isn't as fun as I once thought he was 10 years ago, but he's really good. And he's done this for 10 years now. So shout out to him.
Isn't that crazy?
That is fucking crazy. NXT Our Evolution was 10 years ago, and that was such a pivotal night. Owens coming in and Sasha winning the belt, and it's crazy.
So then we have the roster newcomer of the year. If you go to the roster page on smarkautmoment.com, you'll see anybody that is in italics is somebody that is brand new to the roster this year. So that's what it means. It's not the call up for NXT. That's a separate category we'll get into in the next one. But this is just flat out brand new to the roster. So there's a bunch of names that I could toss out there that are like people I don't know really, like Harlem Lewis and Callie Armstrong, Saquon Sugars. Like I don't know anything about them because they were just like, maybe they wrestled on Level Up and that's about it. But I gotta say, it's pretty. I think we're gonna go in the same direction here.
We're gonna get this over with real quick. So before we say who it is for both of them, I do want to throw out a couple names here that I do see in italics that are probably worth noting. Ren Sinclair has done phenomenal.
See, I don't know if we're gonna have the same positive one because I have a bunch of them listed under positives, but I think we're going to have the same on the negative.
Let me stop you right there. Is your overall pick a male?
For roster newcomer?
Yes.
Overall pick for what? Worst or best?
Both.
I actually haven't picked the best yet. I only have the worst one as like a guaranteed at this point.
Well, yeah. I think we have the same for worst, and we'll probably
we're picking Tongaloa, are we?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, there you go.
The worst is Tongaloa. They have not stopped to let this motherfucker forget he's Camacho. Okay? If they could get him a bike, they would get him a bike. These people do everything they can to avoid this man getting in the ring.
Yeah.
And his brother and tag team partner is in 95% of these matches. and they don't want to put this guy in the ring because he's not good. And I'm sorry, like I think it's great. I love the fact that we got to see the Girls of Destiny lose the WWE tag titles to the Motor City Machine Guns. That still feels like a fever dream. But Tongalo is not good. Like, okay, but back to what I was saying about the people who are good. Ren Sinclair, I've loved everything about what she's done.
She's done a lot of good stuff this year. Yeah.
Um,
She's in that, like, I have a group of about like 10 people that I wrote down as like potential options for that. Ren Sinclair wouldn't be my pick, but she was in that running of like, she's on the good list.
Stephanie Vicaire,
Yep. She's in the list
already.
too.
Julia, phenomenal already.
Yep. Zarya. Already doing some great stuff.
The surprise to me about Zarya is that they've already got her doing some kind of tag team stuff. I really thought she'd be a heater heel, but I like everything she's doing. Javon Evans.
He's another one on the list.
Talk about a guy who is just fun to watch. He's bouncy, he's flippy, he's doing
the fun to watch of 2025.
He's the fun to watch of 2025. Kelly Armstrong, Tony doesn't watch Level Up. I occasionally see clips. She looks like somebody who put a little push behind her and she'll be good. Kendall Gray, I don't think came in this year apparently, but she's also great. Keep an eye on her.
Yeah, she and Carly Bright, I think, were signed last year.
And now outside of that, look, I'm of two minds here. We can either go with the overall, it's amazing and so great to see Jacob Fatu killing it. And he deserves this. And he's fucking earned it. He's knocking it out of the park. And he's the man. And I love you, Solo, is a catchphrase. They asked him, what are your thoughts on Raw coming to Netflix? He said, I love you. So it's just a great bit that will eventually turn into I hate you. So
that's gonna be great when he does that.
But on a personal, I was originally gonna go with Jacob Fatu, but then I thought about it and I'm like, how can you not say it's so great to say the Motor City Machine Guns are WWE superstars and former WWE Tag Team Champions already?
They are also on the list for me too. Yeah.
I think gun to my head, I gotta go Machine Guns. What about you?
Machine gun to your head?
Machine gun to my head. What about you? You going Jacob?
So I had written down a couple other names to shout out. Ethan Page.
Yeah, he's great.
He popped up as a guy that was basically rejected from AEW and wasn't even doing well in ROH. Comes in, wins the NXT championship relatively soon. He's shown range of being a serious character. He's been a comedic character. He had a thing last night with the little switch around of I lost my smile, then I'm going to take away yours from Javon Evans. That was good. We already mentioned Julia, Zarya, all them. Tama Tonga's been a lot of fun. I'd go Jacob Fatu over Tama Tonga, but I wanted to shout out him. He gets kind of lost in the shuffle a lot because everybody talks about Jacob Fatu and then everybody talks negatives about Tonga Loa.
And Solo Sikoa gets a lot of negatives as well.
And it's like, Tama Tonga's fun.
Yeah, he's solid.
Technically, she was signed last year, but she didn't do anything until this year. Jade Cargill. And it's like, she's made a pretty big splash. She hasn't progressed to the point that I've wanted her to. So that's disappointing. That's why I'm not going to give that to her.
She's evened out. Like, hasn't really leveled up from where she was in AEW, but hasn't really, like, gone down where I'm like, oh, AEW did better for her.
So it's tough for me to pick between all of these because I could see an argument for, in particular, I could see an argument for like the triumvirate of the three big NXT women signings, all kind of being across the board. I could see the argument for Ethan Page. I could see the argument for Jacob Fatu and Motor City Machine Guns. Also throw in there the TNA talent. They're not roster newcomers technically, and like when Jordan Grace eventually comes into WWE, she will officially be like, you can count her now, and she'll probably end up being the best of 2025. But like, hey, you know, we got a lot of Jordan Grace and a lot of like Joe Hendry and stuff this year too. So there are newcomers on that front. Not quite the same, so you can't pick them really.
You can just a quick edit note for you. You say Lance Anoa'i, no official announcement. It has been officially announced by WWE.
Do I still have that down as
Yeah,
not official? Okay,
yeah.
let me
And
adjust
I'm also
that.
checking if Hunter Smallback has a.
It's hard to keep track of some of these like NIL and ID signings and stuff, which I guess that technically kind of counts too. But like, is Joshua Black even signed? Is Troy Yearwood even up in the company? Like,
Don't even know who that is.
yeah, it's harder and harder to keep track of this kind of stuff. And if anybody knows anything that I have wrong or I'm missing or whatever, always leave a comment on those pages, because that is something that I want to, I want to make it as bad of as good of a resource as I could possibly get. I think I'm probably going to go Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
I think I might say it's just like a tie between a bunch of these people, though. I don't know if I really want to commit to an answer. And it's my side, my rules. So I can be that hypocritical.
I'm surprised you don't do that more often.
Shout out to all these different people. They all have been doing some really great stuff. And I think that even when it comes to somebody like a Stephanie Vaquera, who, like, technically speaking, Julia has accomplished more than she has. Not by much. Yeah. And it's like Julia probably is going to win that championship from Roxanne Perez in very beginning of 2025. I'm sure Vaquera's going to do great stuff. I'm sure Zarya is going to continue to do great stuff. Like, a good group of signings this year. Big fan of that. Now, on a kind of similar spectrum, the best and the worst main roster call-ups. Now, these are people that have been a part of NXT or the Performance Center or NIL or now the ID program or whatever. If they're a part of the company, they've been signed prior to 2024, and they technically don't have to be signed prior to 2024. They could have came in and then still come up, but they're a part of the NXT roster in some fashion, and then they get brought up to Raw or SmackDown. And it seems like we're going to see a bunch of this happening at the beginning of the year too. But these are my 4 that I have written down for worst. Elektra Lopez, for pretty obvious reasons. She's accomplished nothing at all. She barely ever wrestles. When she does, she loses. She doesn't really offer that much to Legado del Fantasma, and the group as a general has pretty much sucked this year. That sucks. Tyler Bate, man, how did he accomplish absolutely nothing this year?
Well, he got hurt.
It sucks, but you got to admit, he didn't accomplish anything. He did pretty much nothing, and then he got hurt.
But I'd make the comment of he wrestled for the tag team titles at Mania.
That's more than Elektra Lopez has going on. So
yeah, like he did a little something.
I would also put out Kiana James, but she is in that kind of similar situation. She got brought up to the main roster, and then she has been out for however many months. It seems like
might be it.
It seems like there are 2 particular reasons why that she's just like, on that quote unquote injury list for. And, that's probably all going to work out in the grand scheme of things. And there's a certain part of me that's like, well, I don't want to give awards to like the worst to situations like that, especially when you have the person I actually am going to pick, Blair Davenport.
Oh my. Wow.
Because she was so much better off as like, wow, she's finally going to get brought up to the main roster and things are going to turn out well for her. And they have, for months now, just been like, we don't fucking care about her.
Yep.
She never shows up. When she does, she's like sporadically shown to the point that they have to almost like reintroduce her. Like, she had a whole thing with Naomi where it was like, hey, I'm Blair Davenport. I've been around, but I haven't been around. And Naomi's like, who the fuck are you? And it was like, damn, what, you really just, you want to crap on? She got the Cameron Grimes treatment. You've been around long enough. We're going to bring you up, but we're not going to do anything with you. And it wouldn't shock me at all if she ends up getting released in the next year.
Which would be unfortunate. And I hope she was able to keep her passion for wrestling.
They should pair her up again with, like, for real, the Unholy Union. That was kind of fun for like a 2-week thing.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know why she just disappeared. I hope that she's able to, find her footing. Because we've talked a lot about like maybe overhyping someone. Then I know Callum on the AEW Awards, go check them out, talked about how I might have overhyped Peraza for him. And I feel a little bit of the same way about Blair Davenport, where it's like, no, you're supposed to be really, really good. And, your presentation is making it seem much less than that. So I think I have to go with her as well.
It's always a shame to have to call them out. But then again, that's kind of part of the fun as well, to be like, yeah, it's the best and the worst. Nobody else talks about the worst. We're different here at Smark Out Moment. But the best...
We gotta get our negativity out somehow.
Yeah. It's not just going to come out in like the Frank Grimes kind of moments. Best, though, we have some... at one point I wrote down Carmelo Hayes on here, then they just have been dropping the ball with him, so I can't go with Carmelo. Happened. Yeah. He shot. He missed. Did they piss somebody off or something? Like, what's going on?
No, they're doing the whole, you've got all the time in the world.
Ugh. Maybe when he goes over to Raw, he'll do better. I had Lyra Valkyria down at one point as one of the best ones, but there are two people that take priority over her. And I don't know which one of these two I'd actually go with. I might end up actually just having to be a tie, because they've both accomplished some good stuff.
Let me stop you right there, because I was also thinking I might go with a tie. Are we thinking of the two individuals of Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I think it's fair to call it a tie, because best male call-up, Braun Breaker, best female call-up, Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ms. Money in the Bank, who is probably going to be winning that championship pretty soon. You got a two-time Intercontinental champion who is constantly being touted as the next big thing. They've been doing some great stuff.
I agree.
So let's watch over to the tag teamer stable, best and worst, of course. You can find the list on smarkoutmoment.com of the list of tag teams that I've been able to track. Some of them are like, oh, I forgot about that crew, and that they technically were a part of something, and then, you kind of lose. It's a lot easier to keep track of this than it is the AEW one, that's for sure. But things like the Bayou Boys, I don't know if they were technically a team this year, but they certainly don't seem to be anymore, or like Boa and Dante Chen, maybe on NXT, whatever. I probably have to actually adjust my list when it comes to this next year thing, now that we've got like this Gigi Dolan and Shotzi and Tatum Paxley thing that just happened. But maybe that's your favorite tag team of the year, even though it's just brand new. I have on my worst, my options are actually quite a bit of them. Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. That was just like, let's throw them together, and that's not been good. No wonder that didn't work out. They had no real chemistry together. Baron Corbin leaves, and Apollo Crews goes back to doing nothing. Gallus
Boys not on top.
Gallus Boys on bottom. Induce Share.
They weren't still there, were they?
Yep, they got fired this year. But they were, remember the Jinder Mahal thing at the beginning of the year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they still count. Izzy Dame was with Kiana James for a few weeks. They tried to get that pairing together. Then they moved Kiana up to the main roster, and Izzy Dame does nothing for the rest of the year, and Kiana disappears. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. You know that they're party girls?
I'm not doing it for a third episode. Go ahead.
Legado del Fantasma, LWO.
Yeah, that's a strong contender for just a 50-50 worst for me right now, honestly.
New Catch Republic.
New Catch Republic.
Awesome theme. Just amazing. You can't get better than that theme.
You can, and it's good.
We've got the OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Man, let me tell you something. The OC might stand for open check. Okay, like I respect the hell out of those.
Maybe it stands for crap.
I think one day when AJ's healthy and Tom is out of the bloodline, I think you get one more Bullet Club nostalgia run, maybe even with Finn Balor, and I think you have a good time.
I have Pure Fusion Collective on this group because
Oh, they're fine. Stop it.
They're sucking. Come
Stop
on.
it. They're fine.
Not a fan.
You have Indu Share on this list. Come on now.
Yeah, I do. And I also have Final Testament on this list.
Oh, God. This I will get into every time. Any other era, you can't fool me. This act is main event. This era, they're on main event.
And I was very close to adding onto this list as well the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that again. Yeah, you know what? Fuck, it sucks. It's not, like, look, it's not great. I want it to be great. So
I don't know which one of these.
This year.
Nah, I don't think so.
Fuck.
Joe Gacy was by himself, I think, at the beginning of the year.
All right, fine.
You can really pick between any of these, and it would be a viable answer, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about Pretty Deadly. Also, I love them. They're doing Pretty Deadly the musical, but they've also disappeared. You could also make the argument that the Pride was a whiff of a stable.
Yeah.
Part of me
still had Brawling Brutes this year. We had the Natalia and Tegan Knox team that went nowhere.
Part of me wants to say the Pride, and part of me wants to figure out how I can lump all of the start and stop stories of Karrion Kross, because like there was a lot of that this year. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but the tag division is kind of bare. I think, gun to my head, I'm probably gonna go Apollo and Baron though, because how do you do that? Baron Corbin worked his ass off. You do not understand how over this man was 10 years ago. He was super over.
That NXT run where he was destroying people in like 10 seconds.
The fans were counting how long it was taking the match to end. He comes up. He wins the Andre. He does take a lot of steps. U.S. champion. Money in the Bank winner. They shit the bed with that. He becomes the de facto kayfabe reason for why Raw sucks. And he ate that shit. He didn't need to eat that. But he becomes the de facto reason why Raw sucks. He's given main events. He does the best with everything he's given. He retires Kurt Angle. And the best boot out the door you've got for him is, hey, team with Apollo Crews, I guess, because we split you from Braun Breaker. And you're not gonna be here much longer. That sucks.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's one of the biggest whiffs. I think that he deserved way better, which is why I have the Wolf Dogs down as one of my favorite tag teams of the year.
I agree.
But I also have down, in the grand scheme of things, the Bloodline, the new version, the OG version. It's hard not to say that they're not so dominant and everything. Motor City Machine Guns is another option for best tag team. The D'Angelo family, I think, deserves a lot of credit for a lot of fun. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, PWI's top tag team of the year. I think if I could lump the Bloodline all in together, I'd go with that.
It's blood clot. Yeah, look, I would love to say Motor City Machine Guns. I would love to tell you that just because they're there, they get the best tag team work. They're one of the best tag teams in the world, and they have been for years. But the Supersonic Duo exist. And Nathan Fraser and Axiom had a tremendous year. And they're my tag team of the year because they do not miss.
And they're still the tag team champions.
That's crazy. Still the tag team champions.
Let's move over to the best and the worst heel of the year. You can take into this whatever you want, whether this is a heel that, like, for worst, is somebody that's supposed to get heat and they don't get it for you, and that's what you think is worse about it. Or you could say that it's worse in the sense that you just don't really like that character. Best, same thing too. Ooh, I really hate them, so they're the greatest heel because it really, like, you know, kind of pissing me off. Or, man, they're so fun to watch as a villain and I can't wait to see them again, you know, that kind of thing. Here are my options for worst heels. I didn't pick yet between, actually, I didn't pick best and worst for any of the categories going forward yet, so I'm going to pick them on the spot. Keep that in mind. I'm just going to read out my everything for best and worst: heel, babyface, male, female, and overall superstars. But my honorable mentions / whatever which one I'm going to pick for heel worst of the year: Blair Davenport, Gallus,
Mm-hmm.
Indy Hartwell,
Oh boy.
Ridge Holland,
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez. I know a lot of people are,
You're not getting me to agree with that.
Tegan Knox. She was
Worst
supposed to be heel. Yeah.
What? When?
During that very beginning of the whole thing with Natty and all. She turned heel at one point, and then it was like they just dropped her off the face of the earth. So it's like, I kind of can't give it to her. But the two that I'm really debating the most about are Scripps, because I could still actually give it to him. And the guy that I'm really probably going to give this to, it's Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah, he sucks.
And it seems like he's kind of a heel backstage as well, based off of those reports about the whole Tiffany Stratton thing.
Well, I haven't looked too much into that, but
if it's true, then yeah, come on, man. You know?
Yeah, like people say that Ludwig Kaiser beatdown was a little personal.
Which, by the way, Ludwig Kaiser on my list is one of the best heels.
For the best heels, yeah.
Fucking great. Even better that he does that little head bob thing now.
I think I thought about putting Rhea Ripley here for worst heel because she's supposed to be a heel, and it was just like, how are you positioning this woman as a heel? She's not. Towards the beginning of the year, you know, with all the Becky Lynch stuff. You said it, Giovanni Vinci, Legado, Del Fantasma, they're not great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Logan
especially
Paul,
Angel and Berto.
they're just sort of there. Remember when they were having synced up nightmares? That was nice.
And now they make their own T-shirts because the merch department doesn't want to invest in them.
Then God bless them. You know, they're at least trying. You can never say that they didn't try.
Yeah.
I'm just looking real quick to see if I'm missing something.
We've crapped on Ridge Holland, you know, like Indy Hartwell stuff, like Gallus. So
Indy Hartwell, it's just unfortunate. You know, I think at the end of the day, I'll just agree with you. Giovanni Vinci to leave Imperium, never get a tag team run there, and then you lose in 5 seconds to Apollo Crews, who was losing in 5 seconds to other people, who lose in 5 seconds to other people. You know what I mean? Like, there's a totem pole here, and you're at the bottom.
Yeah. He's one to watch for 2025. Be like, when are they just going to cut him? And like, I want him to succeed. I remember being like really championing Fabian Eichner as like, I hope that they sign this guy and he's got a lot of upside, but they killed him this year. And it's just like, I don't think he can come back from it. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too.
Best heels though, on my list, I've got Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green.
Dirty Dominic Mysterio might be the winner.
He's so good.
Drew McIntyre might be the winner.
He's so good.
Gunther might be the winner.
Also great.
JC Jane's great.
JC Jane's very great.
Liv Morgan, hell of a year.
Hell of a year. I'll be talking about her a lot soon enough.
Ludwig Kaiser, just mentioned him. We got The Rock. We got Roman Reigns.
The Rock. You know, that's another one. He really pulled it together for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, I'm not going to count. He spent most of the year as a fake babyface.
I think it's kind of between the pairing of Dom and Liv, Drew McIntyre, and The Rock for me.
I'm going to say, because I am going to give it to The Rock, and here's why. There was a moment there where I didn't think people were going to boo him. I was genuinely like, Cody's probably just fucked. They didn't give it to him last year, and now we got to wait for another moment to come along. But they booed The Rock so quickly, and they were so ready to get behind Cody. And The Rock was able to do a character that he probably never thought he'd play again. So I'm going to give it to The Rock.
I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards giving it to either the Dom and Liv pairing or Drew McIntyre. Because Drew McIntyre just wrecked it this year. Like, he was so good.
See, the reason I won't give it to Drew is because people did actually cheer him. People were ready to get behind him.
True.
CM Punk's a guy a lot of people don't like either.
Yeah, that's true. On the babyface side of things, it's the same concept. It's just, the villains are swapped out for the heroes this time around. So, again, I didn't pick yet. I'll pick out of this group when we come around to it. But here are my list of the worst babyfaces of the year. Andrade.
That's funny.
B-Fab.
Boy, I'm not going to shut up B-Fab. She's actually trying.
Cameron Grimes.
Was he still employed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For a little bit.
All right.
Your most entertaining member of NXT,
all right, listen,
Dante
motherfucker. He's entertaining, and I will not have Dante Chen slander on this podcast.
You've heard me say his name before, Eddie Thorpe.
For some, look, you do this every year, but for some reason, it's really tickling me that you beat up the same people.
Well, Katana Chance and Gaten Carter. Guru Raj.
All right, he was not employed. Stop it.
You can't really count him. I just wanted to bring his name up again.
Stop. He was not. I was gonna say.
I had Lola Vice down at one point in this, but I took her off the list because she has gotten a little bit better. But I did write her name down a little bit ago. Natalia is unfortunately still on my list, though, because, man, they're doing everything that they can to be like, isn't she great, even though we don't want her to be?
Come on, you guys.
And she did have that whole thing with the entrance where,
I love when she does that. So come on, you guys. And sometimes it's like yay, and sometimes it's crickets, and it's just so it's so much. I love Natty.
Tegan Nox just was like a nothing thing this year. They should have just released her before if they knew that they weren't ever going to do anything with her. I think out of this group of mostly Andrade, Cameron Grimes, I can't even really count Cameron Grimes though. So it mostly comes down
to a coin.
It mostly comes down to me between Andrade, Eddie Thorpe, and Casey and Casey.
Really?
For the worst baby faces? Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
Is there somebody I'm forgetting?
Yes. My worst baby of the year is Roman Reigns. He hasn't apologized. He's not a good person. He's not good. He hasn't done anything. You just miss him because you people like to complain about people, and the minute they're gone, you're like, Roman. He's not a babyface. He's a terrible person. He did bad things to people, and they're just like, yeah, but he kind of maybe is alluding to the fact that he might be sorry. No, he's a bad babyface.
I think
that makes Solo a justified heel, but
Solo.
he's a bad babyface. It's Roman Reigns.
I think I'm going to go Casey and Casey because at least Eddie Thorpe turned heel, and if they took that into the direction of like this isn't working, let's pivot. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are supposed to not only be bubbly, like get the crowd super excited baby faces, but they started the year off as tag team champions, lost them, never rebounded, and I don't hear anything when they come out ever. And they're supposed to be party girls. You could have fucking fooled me, you know? And it sucks because I like both of them, but it's just, this isn't working the way that they are. They need to change up their gimmick for sure. And they might be doing that maybe on this next episode of NXT. I don't know.
Was there anything there towards that? Because I know they were there with a certain someone, but I didn't hear of them actually doing anything.
So I don't know when this is going to be published for anybody that's I think it's going to be on
if you're really concerned about Casey and Casey's future. If you say you are, you're a liar.
So they at least show up on next week's NXT in the crowd next to Santa Claus, which seems like it's Andre Chase. And I don't know if that's like an indication of like, we're going to try to fight some heels or we're going to try to fight some baby faces or what. But
right, but I didn't hear of them like, they didn't show up next to Santa Claus and like start beating up on the baby faces, right?
Not that I am aware of. So maybe they change it up a little bit just because they're in NXT. Maybe they're not even in NXT. They're just a guest spot. I hope that they change something.
Santa needs elves, okay?
They are among the tiniest people on the roster too. That's what's funny. That'd be great if they just started recruiting everybody that's on the smaller end. It's just kind of like, hey, Ray, what's up? Actually, who is the tiniest person on the roster? Is it Bliss? Is it Katana Chance? Is it Zelina Vega? I think it's one of those. Actually, is Thea Hale maybe?
No, I think Thea Hale's got a good size.
Somebody leave a comment. Do the math for us. You know, it's Braun Strowman.
Obviously.
Best baby faces. Here's a rundown of my list. Stop me if it's your pick, and I haven't picked mine yet. But
really,
yeah, I said I haven't picked any of these yet. I just have my list, and I was like, I'll pick on the air. Bianca Belair, always
classic,
perpetually,
yeah, but not this year.
CM Punk.
He's I like him. I think he's a babyface, but I can understand objectively he's not the babyface of the year.
Cody Rhodes, probably my pick.
Yeah, stop there because it's Cody. Cody's year. Cody's the quarterback. It's getting so egregious to the point where he's probably going to turn soon. Not soon, but maybe like in a year or so. Because of the whole idea that he's the quarterback and he's supposed to be the guy that everybody loves, and you see people are turning on him. You know? Like the fans, I mean. And people, because Kevin Owens and stuff. But
he's getting that unfortunate Shawn Michaels thing where in '96 where people are like, "Oh, I don't want to cheer the baby face.
I don't want him to be a good person." Like,
and then that's why we get people elected, and shout outs to some other people though. Damian Priest, one of the best baby faces of the year by far.
Absolutely.
Javon Evans. Dude comes out on NXT this next episode or the last episode and is like, "Hey, you dastardly heel, I feel bad that you're sad."
Yeah, I don't want you to be depressed. Come on, guy.
Yeah, come on, I respect you and all that. Oh fuck, now I'm getting a chair to the head.
Oh fuck, I'm bleeding.
Joe Hendry, definitely one of the top baby faces of the year for me.
Doesn't even work there.
No,
I mean, you're right, but he doesn't work there.
Nobody does it like Lonnie.
Nobody does it like Lonnie. Yeah. Kalani Jordan is so great. Her and Jada Parker are the standouts of this era of NXT for me.
Kalani's definitely somebody that if they wanted to just bring her up right now, they could.
I would argue the same for Jada Parker.
I got LA Knight on this list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
Yeah, it's so nice to see him come back and he's, getting a proper run.
Rhea Ripley. Very strong contender for top babyface.
I think Rhea Ripley is one of the biggest crossover stars this company has. If you look at the social media reaction, like the TikTok reaction to this woman, and the way that this woman makes men, women, non-binary people, whatever,
my wife,
just absolutely cream themselves.
Yep.
Like, mommy's always on top, and I think there's a good reason.
I want to give a shout out to Tatum Paxley as one of my more favorite baby faces of this year.
Yeah, I like Tatum.
And you can't deny how big of a baby face Seth Rollins has been this year. the dude sacrificed his whole like body multiple times at Mania for the other top babyface.
This was a really breakout year for him, I think.
I think that this was a year that people go, you might still be the Savage compared to Roman being the Hogan, but holy shit, here are...
But you're the Savage. But you're like...
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you said Savage too, actually, because I was thinking he's had a few different eras, right? Like he had the
Shield era stuff, the Shield stuff.
I think like now I think Authority might be skipped over when people think about him. I think people will think Shield. I think they will think the 2018 IC title into the match with Lesnar, Monday Night Rollins era when he was like just the workhorse. But now I think when you picture peak Seth Rollins, you're picturing this. You're picturing the laughing, the outlandish outfits. This era is perfect Seth Rollins, and I think he's hit his peak.
If it's Punk or Rollins that turns heel, I'm hoping it's Punk.
It feels like it's going to be Rollins,
but
I think I'd rather see Punk go with a heel presentation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think that either one of them will fully turn because I don't think the people will allow it. But I do think that I'd rather see Punk try to, be a little more against the fan base.
So let's go over to the best and the worst female superstar of the year. Shout out to a couple people in my honorable mentions. I actually did pick ahead of time on this one, but I wish she would have had a better year in the full scope of things. But honorable mentions for Bianca Belair, Fallon Henley. I think she did a lot of good stuff this year. Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Kalani Jordan, the NXT Women's Division, really great. But I have to go with a tie on this because it's a shared act. It's split between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Neither of them works the same without the other one.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to go full. It's Liv. It's Liv because she has had to work without Rhea. And she, that's how she got to the top spot. Because who knows if this is going to be Liv's year. If Rhea doesn't get hurt.
Oh, also shout out to Nia Jackson, Tiffany Stratton too.
Yeah, and they did phenomenal work this year. But who knows if it's Liv's year? If Rhea doesn't get hurt, who knows if they give the belt to Becky?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it becomes no, this was always the plan. We were gonna go with Liv infiltrating Judgment Day. Or if it was just like, hey, we stumbled upon this. And now Liv's had the best year of her career. My biggest fear, and that's like, and I'll even admit I've said what I want my dream card to be many times for Mania. I want Liv Morgan to be in a top tier match, maybe even in the world title match, because she deserves it. She carried the company. From a women's perspective, she's been carrying the company. And you can make the argument that, yeah, that's why it sucked this year, whatever. I don't care. Like, she deserves her flowers for doing that.
On the worst side of things, though, worst female superstars of the year. I hate to crap on people that are not having a good year, but I do have to mention that, like, it wasn't a good year for, like, Tegan Knox. Amari Miller, like, just got released this year, and that's whatever. BFAB really didn't do anything at all this year. Valhalla was, like, completely missing this year. At like,
she got pregnant. She had a baby. It's okay.
Even before she was doing that, though, it was like the best thing that she did this entire year was Michael Cole got excited about her horns.
That was so good.
And that's like, that shouldn't be For somebody that's been in the company as long as she's been and has that, track record of being an indie wrestler beforehand, for you to be like, what did you accomplish in 2024 on your career side of things? The child, of course, way takes priority. That's awesome, and that's great for her. But it'd be like, what did you do this year in WWE? The commentator got excited if I had my horns on. That sucks, But I can't quite give them that and, do it the same way when there's 3 other people that I think they had more going for them. And look, Indy Hartwell did not have a good year. She's my number 3.
Impressive.
I like Indy, but it was not impressive this year. And it didn't work out. She ended up getting released and all. I feel bad for that. I think that I hope she bounces back. I hope she just pops up in like TNA or something and does some good stuff. But I still can't give that to her either. She's my number 3 because there are 2 other people that I think it's an even bigger, like, fuck me, come on type of a response. Blair Davenport and Nikita Lyons.
Oh, Nikita Lyons. That's a really good. Her throat chakras are open, don't they?
Like, the best thing that Nikita Lyons has done in 2 years now is that maybe Ashanti the Adonis wants to fuck her. Really? That's the big, like, you sign her, she's a big prospect and all this other stuff, and she gets injured and injured and injured and injured and injured, and she gets worse and worse in the ring, and her promos aren't any better, and her presence isn't any better, and this whole thing revolves around Ashanti and Carmen, not Nikita. So I don't know if I want to go with that, or if I want to go with the whole downside of Blair Davenport that we've already talked about.
I will probably be going.
I'd rather watch Blair in the ring, so that's another thing too. Like,
I hear you, but at the same time, Nikita was injured, and as I've said on the AEW thing when it came to Britt Baker, like, I'm not interested in being like, yeah, you were injured half the year, screw you. That's the only reason I'm not saying Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair's only out because she's been injured. But I'm really worried that we already saw Charlotte Flair peak 5 years ago, and that she's been putting it in ever since. And I'm very worried about that because Charlotte Flair is legitimately one of the greatest of all time, and that upsets me. Same thing with Becky. Becky bounced after Mania, and it was known that she was going to do that, but still, like, I'm worried that we've already seen the peak of their careers. You know what I mean? Like, that's concerning to me.
Oh, also Elektra Lopez. I forgot to put her name there.
I was going to bring up Elektra because of the reasons I mentioned before.
B-Fab and Elektra Lopez are perpetually tied together all the time for me.
Well, B-Fab's trying harder.
Yeah,
like,
she's trying. Trying isn't the same as succeeding.
Okay, dude. I mean,
I want her to keep trying. I want her to get better.
I agree with that. Yeah, this is hard for me because is it a Cora Jade who I feel like I'm worried that maybe she's already down on the totem pole. Thea Hale didn't bounce back from where she was last year. Was Ronda Rousey on the roster this year?
No, I don't think so.
Shayna Baszler, that's another one who you can talk about, like, disappointing. I've given up hope that Shayna Baszler's ever going to be a singles champion. But I think, gun to my head, maybe I'm channeling Callum here. Jade Cargill also had quite a few whiffs this year, and I think she's done well, but it's only because she's linked to Bianca. And how long can you be linked to that safety net?
So, I guess we're going to find out whenever she returns.
Hopefully we are. And another one I want to call out for worst. Hey, Naomi was killing it in TNA. You can say what you want about that's because of comparatively, yada yada, problematic, whatever. Like, Naomi was killing it in TNA. Naomi was not killing it in WWE this year. So that's something to think about as well. I think overall, though, I might just side with you and say Blair Davenport. She's
better than this.
She's better than that. Thank you. That's exactly it. She's better than this. And there's a few women on the roster I could say that. Alba Fire, better than this. You know?
Shit, Isla Dawn better than this. She's had
Isla Dawn better than this.
Like, she's been champion this year and it still wasn't all that good.
Candice LeRae better than this, but at least she's on TV right now.
Yeah. And technically has a title even though it doesn't matter.
Speed division catching strays for no reason.
Yeah. It's not quick enough to avoid them, that's why. Male superstar, same thing. Just on the male men's division side of it. We've already talked about a lot of these names, so that's why it's easy to speed through these, but you could throw out these same names like, okay, Guru Raj, you can make fun of that, you can make fun of the Dante Chen thing, you can make fun of whatever, but I'm going to repeat the same sort of names. My honorable mentions for the worst male superstar of the year, Andrade.
Yeah.
Throw in LWO.
Yeah.
Cameron Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Thorpe, up until lately. Gallus.
Yeah.
Ridge Holland in a lot of ways, but I like Ridge Holland more than a lot of other people, but I can see why people have that down as, an option. It's the last chance we can mention Scripps.
Scripps. He's even doing better for himself outside WWE.
But I'm going to go worst male superstar of the year, Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah. The fact that you weren't right beside Gunther when he's world champion kind of sucks, but doesn't it?
He won 2 matches this entire year.
I'm going to put this person down for worst with the caveat that I know they're getting better and I know what just happened on the spoilers and I know that, I know what's about to happen. Hopefully it's all for the better, but I want to acknowledge this year that Lexis King had a really rough first full year in WWE.
Way worse than it should have been. He should have had a much better time.
Really rough first year in WWE. I hope next year is better.
Yeah. At least he's going to go into there as champion. Or you'd assume so. I mean, technically he could drop it on the 30th or something, Are you going Vinci as well, though?
No, I'm going. No, Lexis.
Are you going Lexis King?
Lexis, yeah.
So on the best, shout out to a couple different people. Damian Priest. One of the best male superstars of this year for me. Won the... he didn't win this year, but he was carrying the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was carrying the tag titles. Cashed in at WrestleMania. Won the championship. Had a decent enough reign with that. Perpetually doing better and better work. I wish I could give that to him, man, because he doesn't get enough credit. A lot of great stuff.
This is best year.
A lot of great stuff from Dominic Mysterio this year.
Absolutely, best year.
A lot of great stuff from Gunther this year.
Can't say best year, but one of them.
Yeah, he's an honorable mention. Big upgrade to Jey Uso for this year, but can't give it to him. Of course, Roman Reigns, big focal point, all that stuff. Seth Rollins was pretty much my runner-up because I'm going to give it to Cody.
Yeah, it's Cody.
The guy won the fucking championship of WrestleMania and all that. Like,
that's not to be anticlimactic, but it's Cody.
Yeah. When we get to this type of the awards, it tends to be us just being like, we've said everything that we need to say for that. So in that regard, too, best overall superstar of the year, where you can combine these together. The worst overall superstar for me is Giovanni Vinci. And
I'm going to go Blair Davenport.
And you could very easily go Blair Davenport. And then you can just go ahead and it's Cody Rhodes for best superstar of the year.
It's Cody Rhodes. And shout out to Liv. We will never forget this was your year. Did a lot of great things. You finished some stories, but you didn't finish the story. He finished the story. He got the Winged Eagle belt back on TV. Yeah. He finished all the stories.
It's a good way of putting it. Finished all the stories.
What do you do now? You've officially checked off all those boxes. Now you can look at new frontiers. It's really cool when you think about it like that.
It really is. And it sounds so like I said, anticlimactic to be okay, it's just Cody Rhodes. All right, that's the end of the episode. There you go, everybody. But
Bro,
it's
we've done 6 hours. At least WWE, we've done 6 hours.
Yeah, 5-6 hours worth of that stuff. We've talked about it the entire year. Cody Rhodes had the best moment of the entire year, and the one of the few things in 2024 that was good and just in life.
I can't remember if you said it on the air, but you straight up said Cody Rhodes winning the title was like the last good thing that happened. If we're talking in life,
yeah, and that says a lot. It's an escapism. It's an escapism type of thing. That's why we watch this stuff. That's why we enjoy it. That's why we get so annoyed when we don't enjoy it. Is because it's just like, come on, man, give me the good thing. Give me the thing that keeps me around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's I want all the people that get the worst awards for the most part to just be picking themselves up and doing a much, much better job in 2025. I always want to be talking about the biggest upgrades and being
like Legend, who was one of the worst a couple of years ago for one of us.
For a lot of us, yeah.
Yeah,
Lash Legend ended up improving a lot.
Lash Legend is great now. And that's kind of the thing. Like, when I say Blair Davenport's the worst, I don't mean she sucks. I mean her presentation has sucked.
Right.
Blair Davenport's great.
So we'll see how that all works out in 2025. But that is going to do us in for the Performers Awards. That's going to do us in for the WWE Awards in general. So if you didn't, for some reason, check back on the Writing Awards and the Technical Skills Awards, go back and do that. Go check out the AEW Awards if you want to know what we liked for those 3 categories all across the board, and what we disliked for the worst side of those things. 2025, I don't know what we're going to get. And I don't know if we'll still be doing this exactly in 2020. I don't know if the aliens and the drones and all that stuff, I don't know if we're all going to, we're all going to get vaporized or something.
We will eventually get to whether or not we will do this in 2025. I do think that's a conversation that we should have. And we will have it at some point, I'm sure. But I know it
might look different. It might be changed. Might be exactly the same. We might combine this with that Mount Rushmore idea that we were toying around with a little bit. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Coverage, look, I'll say this, and I think, even though it's your set, I can say this confidently. Coverage on Smark Out Moment is bound to see some changes in 2025.
Absolutely.
But if you want to keep it the same,
or
you know how to do that? Tell them how to do it, Tony.
You got a lot of options on this marketplace. Redbubble and TeePublic for merchandise, patreon.com/SmarkOutMoment, YouTube channel membership. You could always do the Pick Your Poison tier and make sure you get certain episodes of different things that you are specifically requesting. Even $1 a month is something that is greatly appreciated. Keep in mind that we have the thanks buttons. We also have the super chats. Always try to put on the live things now a super chat goal of like, hey, if we get a certain amount, then we'll have a bonus episode this month or something. There are free ways to help us out. I always tell everybody, hit the like button on this video, pass us around, click the share button, post us on Reddit. If you had a message board or a Facebook group or something, be like, check out these guys, listen to the podcast, any of that thing is like, just, you never know what's going to catch on. So if you want us to have an even better 2025, the ball's in your court. I already do everything I possibly can to try to get this stuff to go out there. I'm tapped on that front. So it's up to the 5,000 plus that are subscribed to this YouTube channel and the people listening out like Spotify and Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts and all. Ball's in your court, everybody. Bounce it around there. And also leave your comments below. Tell us what you thought about our list. Tell us what your list is. Talk about anything else you want to talk about there. Hit up the Discord server as well. Check out the Fanboys Anonymous content on fanboysanonymous.com. Find links to that and everything else at amangotree.com. Follow me at Tony Mango and follow Rob as well.
Yeah. Since this is the final of the 2024 end of the year awards, I do want to say that, as always, I love Tony. Love Callum.
Love you too.
I think that this has been a very trying year for the two of us that are on this podcast right now.
Very arduous.
And now more than ever, even just for me, if you enjoy the stuff we're putting out there, make your voice heard. I know it sounds cringe to like basically be fishing for at least compliments, but that shit does make a difference. I'm here to tell you that. Um, yeah, I don't know, because I don't know what my 2025 looks like, and I would love to keep doing stuff like this. And the only way that that happens for sure is if I know that it's actively being received well. So with that in mind, follow me on all the social medias at Dude Felice. Check out my work on Fightful. Check out all of the stuff that we've done, not only in 2024, but in years past on this website. I've been here since 2018. You know, we've done a lot of stuff since then. Follow fanboys. Ask for more fanboys. Because we've got ideas of, mile-long lists of ideas for both sites. But if the motivation ain't there, you're never going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to be more motivated in 2025. And I don't know if Tony's like, what the hell are you doing? You're going off the rails here. But like,
no, I agree. I was going to say, if we gave 2024 a best or worst, I'd say worst,
No,
not for like, a lot of things, but for just like 2024 was a fucking wreck and a lot of personal things.
We are, as you'll see in our Darkcast, if you subscribe to the Darkcast here, we're very open and raw with our regulars, especially our regulars. 2024 sucked. 2024 was a rough year personally. It was a rough year professionally. I don't ever want to feel the way that I felt in 2024 again. If you want to help change that, the best thing to do is to just show your support. I know YouTubers say, like this video, subscribe, ring the bell. I know that sounds cliche, but Alexa, stop. Again, real. That I want you guys to know that, like, we want to keep doing these. A lot of the conversations I've had with Tony is, we want to keep doing this. It's a shame that it's not as fun as it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, where we were actively like looking forward to what we could put out and how we could try to maximize and grow. Maybe 2025 is the last shot. Not to put that kind of pressure on Tony, but
can't disagree though.
Maybe just speaking out loud, maybe 2025 is the last shot.
Hey, it's the 18th right now. I don't know when this gets posted, if anything's changed, but you never really know, pro or con. So you just gotta go to roll with it, I guess. And that's what we're doing. So keep all that in mind, everybody. Keep your awards lists out there as well, and keep in mind all these categories for next year. If we end up having that, start writing down your list at the beginning of the year and start, prepping for that. But we do still have a few more things coming your way from the end of the year. I think at the very least we'll have had the AEW World's End discussion. Probably another round of the hot tags coming up. I think I'm probably posting this on the 23rd. So it might just be that. And it might be maybe something else, maybe another Darkcast or something. I don't know. But you know how this all works. If you see something up on there, click on it. And we'll see you then. But thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for all your support. And we'll see you next time. This has been another Smark Out Moment. And we are being counted out.